What is going on here? I can't hear a word.
There we go.
Nope. Hey, are we live?
We are.
We're not live yet.
Check. We are live, but I don't know why
Are
the
we?
microphone's not working.
You know, we're talking about patience today, so maybe this is part of the problem.
There we go.
Oh,
Whoa.
oh.
That's better. There we go. I just switched channels, so
Well,
hopefully
now I can't hear you. Blew my eardrums.
I don't know what the deal was. I actually did sound check, so I'm not exactly sure why that happened. That's very weird. So.
You know, I hear that a lot.
Shut up. Well, welcome into the Morning Burrito. I'm
Oh, yeah.
Michael,
Good morning, and I'm Eric.
and it is Tuesday. We are sorry we were not with you last week.
Yeah, not really though. I'm not really that sorry.
No, I mean it was a great.
It was a good week.
Great week.
It was camp.
So we'll start our episode today by just downloading and debriefing about camp because we were excited. We had a good time. So I want to share some of the cool things that happened this week.
Well, what I want to hear first of all is the story of this monster fish that you say you caught yesterday.
Yeah. So Kelly, if you're
Where
watching,
there's no proof. You said his name again.
yeah, actually, I asked him to be on the show with me next week since you're not going to be here.
Where am I going to be?
But he's going to
Oh, I'm
Silverwood.
on vacation.
Yeah, you're on vacation. So he's going to Silverwood apparently. So he won't be here for the show, which is unfortunate.
You're a loner.
He was. It did it again.
It's you. Mine's working fine. Anyway, hey, tell us. Can you talk?
Well,
You're a guy. You can't multitask.
I think we're dropping frames. I don't know what the deal is here.
It's great. We love live shows. I mean,
We're recording, so I guess we'll have to just post this later. Sorry, y'all, that we were not live.
so now we're not live.
No,
We were live.
The internet's down. So
Oh,
at the church, so we're getting red marks, and I'm plugged in hardline to the internet. So
all right.
yeah,
Well, so perfect.
yep. So anyway, you're seeing this later. This is not live like it was intended to be.
So okay. So back to the fish story that you supposedly caught with no proof.
Yeah. So Kelly, when he watches this, he can attest to this. Okay. I caught a pretty big fish. He actually thinks it's bigger. It was bigger than the fish that he ended up catching.
See, okay. So when you first told me the story, it was a monster fish.
It was.
Now it's just a pretty big fish.
I mean, a monster for a bass. I mean, it's not like a sturgeon or anything.
Well,
I don't think.
I mean, monster. And
I mean,
then
if it was
like,
a sturgeon,
it's
it was a
pretty
baby.
big. It's
But-
like it's a true fish story. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
It's like the movie Grumpy Old Men. You know, the catfish hunter.
Yeah.
It's kind of
Yeah.
like that.
So did you get it in the boat?
No, I got it 10 feet from the boat, and then my lure's gone. Oh, give me a break.
Oh, so did you tie your own knot, or did Kelly tie your knot?
No. I tied my own. I know how to do it.
Oh.
It wasn't okay. So let me rephrase.
Obviously not.
The lure was not gone. It was the fish was gone off the lure.
Okay,
So let me
all right.
rephrase that.
All right.
I reel, and then all of a sudden it gets real easy to reel, and I'm like,
Did you start with beating
Really?
the water with your pole?
I wanted to throw
Yeah.
my pole in the water. It was awful. I was like, you got to be kidding me. Because I mean, we saw it jump out of the water. I mean, it was a good sized fish, and I was like, man, this stinks. This really stinks. But oh well,
Yeah.
It is what it is.
All right. So, so we weren't here last week because of camp. So,
Yeah. So summer camp for our students, we had it here at our church, and that's not the best option. That's not what we would prefer. We'd prefer to go to a campground or go to our district camp or something of that nature.
but you know what? We have done fabulous and phenomenal the last 2 years. I mean, even in the middle of COVID, I mean, we haven't stopped. Right?
We've had to be flexible.
and this year was so much better than last year. I mean, well done.
It's been very weird. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? Keep talking. I'm going to get us on Facebook.
Oh, okay. So we're gonna go to Facebook. So anyway, this week at camp, it was phenomenal. We made the decision early on to stay here local again for camp because we didn't know what COVID was going to do and what the restrictions were. And who wants to go to camp and be full of masks and be full of like distancing and have 30,000 different meal times and you're eating by yourself in a corner or under a rug or something? So. Put together the plan, brought the band in. Band was rocking. Final Greetings was with us, and I mean those guys were awesome. I mean they were not only were relational with our students, but man, they slept the entire week on our church nursery floor. Now that is the cushiest carpet we have in the church, but still, they did that, and it was just fabulous.
Yeah, internet is completely down. So never mind. We can't go to Facebook.
Can't
either.
go to Facebook. Well, hey, I tried to stall for you.
Yeah, sorry.
But camp,
No, yeah,
though, was
Final
huge.
Greetings was amazing, and I know that I know that Tyler has watched this show, and I don't know about James or Sam or the other guys, but
Well, they all be watching now.
yeah, they should be. But I really do appreciate those guys. They to be rock stars, right? I mean, they're rock band guys. They travel, they tour. They've been throughout the United States. They've been to Europe to tour. And for them to spend the time and the effort and the intentionality to be with our students and to love on our students, they knew they were not here to just do music. They were here to minister. And so that was awesome. And, our adult leaders beyond that, I mean, our adult leaders are awesome. We are really fortunate to have
they
a
stepped
team.
up, too.
Yeah. I mean, we had 2 ladies who stayed here 24/7 while we were here. I mean, they were here every day, all night, all day. We had several adults who worked full time, got up at 3:00 in the morning, your 2 boys, for construction work, and then as soon as they got off of work, they're coming out to the church and they're going to spend the whole night, till midnight or whatever, to be here and get up 3 hours later and go back to work. So,
but some other guys did the same thing, that work all day. They came, when they got off work. So
yeah. So yeah, it was
first aid people. They were around when they could on their work schedules and when kids weren't sick in their own families.
Yep.
And man, you had some good cooks.
Yeah, we had great cooks.
We ate well this week.
Yeah, we had all kinds of good breakfast stuff. I mean, now, granted, students who are watching, I'm sorry that we didn't have a better lunch for you, but I mean, there were sandwiches, and you had, the Go-Gurts and string cheeses and
sandwiches
stuff,
you wanted to run away from.
By the way, we had a running conversation all week about that your daughter was involved in, and I need you. Gabe is probably going to be watching this, so Gabe is wrong when she describes how she eats string cheese. And guys from the band, many students, let Gabe know that she was wrong in the way she was eating string cheese. There is a right and a wrong way to eat string cheese.
Is it not up to your family and how you eat string cheese?
No. There's a reason it's called string cheese. It's not meant to be.
Are there directions on the package?
No, but
then how are you supposed to know? I'm defending my daughter.
But do you eat string cheese?
I pull it.
Okay, so even your own dad does it, Gabe. So.
But I also am a chomper though. I mean, I'm probably yeah.
I mean, I guess if I'm in a rush, I might do that. But like, I'm just looking for a snack, a real quick snack.
Yeah.
But I want to savor the flavor.
But it
like
tastes
I want
the same.
I mean, yeah, it does, but it doesn't last as long.
So those of you that are watching, if you're a chomper on string cheese, or if you're a puller of string cheese, just send us a note. Which one tastes better? Just which way? Which way do you like the flavor?
Well, again, it doesn't matter how it tastes. There is still a right or wrong way to do it. That's all I'm saying.
It's not on the directions.
So we had a lot of fun. One of the things that was really cool this week, and this is mainly the reason why we took the week off, is we wanted to focus in on what was going on with our students and make sure that we were giving the students the full attention that they deserved. Because God was at work all week. We saw multiple students make decisions for Christ or rededicate their lives to Christ last week. In fact, we had a concert on Friday night with the band, and we had four people who gave their lives to Christ during the concert as well. So, so it was a very successful weekend for God's kingdom week. And I mean, we did all kinds of fun things. And we went to the park and played kickball.
Went to the pool.
We went to the pool down in Pendleton, which
came out and destroyed my yard.
I found out it's not Pendleton, it's Pendleton, which makes no sense because
we know that. It's like no one.
I don't say that. So
well, just saying. But yeah, you came to my house, ripped up my yard.
Well, you invited us to do so.
Well, it was great.
You're lucky tiki torches didn't fall over and
I
set something on fire.
I had water and I had 3 fire extinguishers ready to go. And I had just watered my grass, so there was no way. Well, I guess a kid's hair could have caught on fire, but
that would have made for an interesting day. And you kind of alluded to it right there. We had 0 injuries. Like even our friend Becky didn't get hurt. I mean, that's pretty amazing.
Miracles happen.
Yeah. I mean, it's a year since she had her last injury at camp. So, and I didn't get hurt. I didn't have any glasses break.
Nothing.
So, I mean, it was a successful game.
You guys didn't play hard enough.
Oh. We played pretty hard. I mean, we put a hole in the wall.
There is a hole in the wall. There is a hole in the wall.
Hey, but as many of my adult leaders said, and I totally agree with.
No, don't go there.
In 2 years of ministry, I'm almost a full 2 years here at Herm Naz. in 2 years of ministry at Hermnaz, we have not put any holes in walls. We have broken a few valences on the blind things, vertical
Destroyed
blinds.
most of them.
Well, that's not my fault that they were hanging there. I mean, that's when you play dodgeball, what are you going to do?
So, but here's what we don't need to do. We don't need to apologize for any of that.
No.
Because God gave us a church, and it's a tool.
Yeah.
And
And it's a small hole anyway.
I know. It doesn't matter. When I was growing up, I would have been like,
What's funny is
excommunicated from the church if I would have put my foot through the wall.
I remember my teen years, right? And so I'm asking the students, hey, does anyone know who did this? And I'm telling them, like, look, you're not going to get in trouble. And then I had to realize, like, even if I was a teen, if an adult had said that to me, I'm still not telling if I know.
Right.
I'm still keeping that to myself, pleading the fifth on that one.
Yeah.
Because I'm worried that, there's going to be retribution coming back to me if I reveal what I know or who I know
I want to
did
think
it.
that right now, like the age I am now, I'd be like, yep, did it.
Oh, I would definitely admit to
Yep.
it if I did it.
Be proud. I'm not in trouble. I'm proud. Let's go.
I did nearly go through the wall once.
I heard this.
Yeah, your boys kind of caused it, to be quite honest. Your boys in the band.
Yeah. They snowballed you into the wall.
I was not prepared. I'm glad I had my my game glasses on because it would have been bad. Yeah, we know. The internet's down, so can't get on.
Our office manager stuck her head in and said, "You're not online." It's like,
Hey, Oh, she left. Anyway.
So overall, the whole week at camp, great week at camp.
Yep.
We had to make some changes because of weather and smoke and health hazards and that kind of thing. But even with all of those things, camp was a huge success.
Yep.
And then Friday was going to be like, I was so looking forward to Friday. Friday was going to be like the day we like put the boats in the river
Penultimate day.
and just boom, like go rafting all day, pulling kids on the tubes, and then the rock concert Friday night. Great way to end camp. And then the wind came up, couldn't do that, and but still, it wasn't a downer.
No.
But it was
Well,
good.
and the kids were pretty. I mean, adults obviously
Yeah.
were worn out by Friday, but
Sure.
we were worn out by Tuesday.
Yeah.
No, yeah, it was great, and we had new students who came and were a part of camp that had never been to our youth group, never been part of an activity with our church before. That was really neat to have those kids, and if they're watching, you guys know who you are, and thanks for being at camp this year. So yeah, camp was great, and so not sorry that we weren't here last week, but we are sorry that the internet's not working. I mean, the half of the town of Hermiston yesterday didn't have power either for a little while, so
That is true.
apparently there's things going on. I've lost internet several times in the last couple of weeks at my house, so I don't know if there's just work being done that's causing
it's always easy to
internet
pass it off on
failures.
somebody else.
Yep. Well, I mean,
So-
I can't control internet.
But hey, as far as camp goes, we do camp. And if you're a parent, grandparent, aunt, uncle, single mom, single dad watching today, there is something that happens at camp that is just so amazing. It's a unique situation. There are things that happen emotionally, physically, mentally, and most of all spiritually at camp when you get away and you lock yourselves in a bubble, an organized, intentional bubble, and let God just have his way. And it's so amazing because this week we were able to sit back and the coolest thing happened. We got to see God do things that only God can do.
Yep.
And when you can see God do that, it's amazing and it blows your mind every time. And so we were tools. And so I just want to encourage you that if you're watching, I know summer's pretty much done and the camps and stuff are pretty much done for the summer.
Mm-hmm.
But fall's coming and there's always a retreat.
Yep.
And
Fall retreat.
If it's not at our church, it could be at your church. And if you're not part of a church, get in a church and get your kids plugged into whatever the fall retreat is, because God will do some good things there and turn your family around. And those of you that helped financially, we had some huge financial supporters
Yep.
to make camp happen to where it was free for our students this year. That doesn't always happen, but this year it was able to be free for our kids because people they prayed about it, they listened to what God said, and they acted on what God said, and it made it free, and we were able to present the gospel in ways that we couldn't have done if we had to keep it within a budget of what kids could afford. So, so I always want to say, as a pastor, thanks for supporting our youth pastor and Elevate Student Ministries, because it was phenomenal. So your gifts were huge, impacted in ways that we still will never know. I mean, it'll take eternity to show us what your investment did. So anyway, so whenever you hear that, hey, we're raising money, or if you want to give toward a retreat or a camp, that's intentional because we want to do some things that we just can't do on just normal. Hey, you know what? Camp's gonna cost $250. If you got 3 kids, that's a
It's nearly $1,000 bucks.
Chunk of change there, right?
Right.
So you helped a lot of families out, several families out this year anyway, with that. So anyway, I just want to take time to say.
Well,
hey,
and
thank you
I
for
want
that.
to say before we move on to our subject for today, number one, we are going to be talking either next week or very soon about the idea of family ministry and how important it is in culture today, and how crucial it is for churches to focus in on family ministry and have that be an important part of the ministry of your church. So we're going to talk about that here soon. If not next week, then certainly in the near future. But I also want to say, just as a personal note, and I said this on Sunday, I am really appreciative of you as a leader, as my leader, my pastor, because honestly,
Are you turning this to Mushville right here?
maybe a little bit. No, I've worked in several churches and I've had great support from pastors in the past, but I've never had the support that I have from you, and helping, you spending time with our students every camp, always being here with the kids throughout the week, and what you did on Tuesday night, opening your home. That doesn't just affect me and my adult leaders. It affects our students, and to know that not just the youth pastor, I'm supposed to care about the kids, right? But to know that
I hope you do.
the lead pastor cares about students and really they matter to you. I think that's a huge thing, and so thank you for that, and thank you for making it a priority to our church and to our church board that student ministry is a focus of our church and does matter. So thank you for that.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, we love our students. Love what they stand for, and it doesn't matter it doesn't matter their age, right? It doesn't matter how obnoxious that you think a student is, or what size a student is. It doesn't matter how they think. It doesn't matter how they talk. It doesn't matter, how they snore at night. They're still capable of comprehending the Word of God.
Yeah.
And that above all else is, like, from my heart. It's got to always just be out there because, man, you want the heart to be transformed. So yeah, kudos to you. Good job. Thank you for the love and the mush back. So,
So today we are going to talk about patience, and I think patience is something that everybody and their brother, their sister, their cousin, their aunts, their uncles, everybody can use some more of.
Like this morning's just a prime example of patience. Like, we have no internet.
Yep.
Plan for it. Don't have it. Right. I can't get the thing over there to work. And then my iPad is dead this morning
Because you didn't charge it.
I worked on it already this morning for like a long time, and it was
That's
just
why
fine.
it's dead.
And
Because you didn't charge it last
whatever.
night. See,
So yeah, and then
learn a lesson today.
yeah, and then the coffee. It could have been a better day on coffee, but anyway, so patience, a lot of things.
So I always,
hinder us.
whenever, we always like to talk about cultural references when we bring up a topic, right? And when you brought up patience, the first thing that came to my head, and it always does whenever the topic of patience arises in conversation, I always think of the movie Bruce Almighty. Or actually, I think it's Evan Almighty.
Evan Almighty.
Evan Almighty.
Bruce Almighty was. Which one was Noah?
That's Evan.
That's Evan.
Yeah. So it's Evan Almighty. So the wife of Evan has got her boys, and they're at this like fish restaurant, right? And she's asking for more fish and chips, which is funny to me because it references Jesus feeding the 5,000 and whatever.
In case you missed that.
Yeah. And so Morgan Freeman, who in both Bruce Almighty and Evan Almighty plays the God character, which, by the way, he does a great job. I love it. I love Morgan. He's a great actor. Anyway, she's talking about how, my husband thinks he's Noah. What am I supposed to do with that? And Morgan Freeman's character says something that I think we miss this all the time. He gives this list of things that people pray for. And he said one of the ones he gives is patience. People pray for patience.
Yep.
Do you think God makes them patient, or does he give them opportunities to be patient? He says different, a bunch of different options here, but that principle is so true. God has given us the capacity to do things like be patient make us patient.
Right.
And we do pray for that a lot. Make us wiser, make me more tolerant of other people. Like, what he's going to do is he's going to give you opportunities to do that.
Yep.
And you have to choose whether you're going to do it or not.
You know, one way that I've learned to pray instead of praying for patience or praying to help me be more tolerant, or help me just to wait, is just changing your prayer to understand and go like, hey, you know what? I know I need patience in an area, right? But Lord, teach me how to handle the situation and in the speed of which you want me to handle it. And when I can physically and verbally say that, I mean, it sounds totally different in my prayer life. I'm not whining going, oh, Lord, give me patience. I'm like, no, Lord, I am seeking your direction, and I need you to show me what your timing is here.
Yeah.
It just changes your heart.
Yeah, patience is one of those things that I think our culture has not really helped us be more patient. In fact, I think it's hurt us. We may have talked about this before. I know I've talked with many people about this in the course of my life, but I am of the generation that drive-throughs weren't a thing.
Oh man,
when I was born, like drive-throughs have come to be a thing since I've been alive, and
that is so weird.
It's such an evidence of patience, a lack of patience, right? I was telling somebody about this. This is really funny. So, your town, if you don't live here in Hermiston, Oregon, your town may have the same issue. But for those of you who do live in Umatilla County or Hermiston, you'll know what I'm talking about. So when the pandemic started, right, everybody went to drive-through, right? Drive-through was the only way other than ordering, which we didn't have DoorDash at the beginning of the pandemic, and then all of a sudden we have DoorDash and all these other, delivery services in our town. But I remember every time I would drive by the corner of 395 and Elm Street, which is our main intersection in town.
McDonald's, Jack in the Box, Starbucks, and a sushi place.
Right. Is hibachi.
Hibachi.
Yeah, the hibachi is better. Forget the sushi stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
Sushi is not worth even saying. So.
Sorry if you like sushi. It's not my thing. No, but the McDonald's drive-through was just ginormously packed all the time.
Double laned.
Right. And you have the McDonald's worker who'd be out there with the little iPad or whatever, taking orders to make things go faster. And I was like, okay, well, that makes sense. Sucks going to the drive-through because, I mean, it's your only option, and you have to sit there in your car for umpteen million hours.
Well, it's not really your only option. You could cook at home.
Well, yeah, but I mean, as far as drive-through, all the drive-throughs are busy. I mean, you go to Taco Bell, and it's like out to the street.
Dutch Bros. Police are there at the intersection directing traffic.
Right. But here's the interesting part. When we began to open back up, and the lobby was open for the McDonald's again, you know what didn't change?
The line.
The line.
Yep.
People still go through the drive-through in mass numbers. Taco Bell still packed in their drive-through every day at lunch and dinner. And it made me realize in these last couple of weeks that culture, the pandemic has kind of accelerated our impatience, our non-patience, to the point where we're even lazier than we were before the pandemic took place. We're even more impatient than we were before the pandemic happened, which is interesting because the pandemic forced us to slow down in life. Most of us. I know for you and I, it made us slow down in life quite a bit.
Yeah, people have lost their mind. I mean, honestly, I sat at the stoplight the other day, and I was probably like the fourth car in line, and the light had turned green. And it's like, if the light turns green and you're still sitting there, something is wrong. I mean, typically it's because you're texting or you're on your phone.
Right.
Right? I mean, you're just not engaged on everybody says, well, I can be on my phone while I sit at a red light. Well, you have no clue what's going on around you. I mean, I'm just as guilty of that. So I'm not casting shadow on anybody. But I was like the fourth car in line, and the car in front of me starts honking their horn. Now, I know the light's green. And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, okay, it's been 3 seconds. Let's go, people. And the guy gets his car door and opens it, and then I'm like,
road rage.
Is he coming for me? I mean, because usually you open the door, you go backwards, right? And I tailgate sometimes. My kids would say a lot, which is probably true. That's a patience thing for me. Or when I pull up to a stoplight, I might pull up a little close just it's the way my brakes work, I guess. I don't know. But so I'm like, what am I doing wrong? And he just gets out and he stands like half in his car, half out of his car, and is just screaming at the car in front of him. But it was like the one at the green light because we had sat there about 7 seconds now. I mean, it was not long.
So it was going to turn red before too long.
Yeah, and actually, I didn't make it through it. I was the first car in line for the next round. He sat there that long because it made the person want to just sit there, right? Because they stuck their head out the window and they're like, blah, 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 blah. And then finally he takes off. And anyway, but I was reminded of patience. I'm like, okay, that's like I sat here really like 7 seconds, but
Yeah, you know, I had a very similar experience. Claudia and I went to Dairy Queen the other day, and there was a car.
talk about a line.
Yeah, always,
no matter.
especially at night. Like if it's after work time, there's a massive line at the Dairy Queen.
Now we're dropping a lot of restaurant names. We're getting paid by none of them.
Yes.
So.
And this is not Dairy Queen's fault by any stretch, but there was this woman behind us, or two girls. They weren't, old. They were probably teenagers, but they're in this vehicle behind me and my wife and my daughter. And they weren't honking at us. They were honking at the people at the ordering gizmo, whatever the sign. And if they felt like it was too long, each person, beep. Because you know how it's like a U. And so we were on the ordering's over here. We're on this side of the U. And they're honking at the people at the U over, like, as we inched forward, every time somebody was there, they would honk.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're not making this go any faster. Plus, you have to remember the people inside the restaurant are actually making the food.
And they can't hear you.
And they can't hear you, nor do they care. And also, they're not going to go any faster. They're going as fast as they can, I'm sure.
Yeah. Impatience is something
unreal.
that we all struggle with.
And if you're watching this today and you're that girl, just chill out. Like, relax.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
Send us a note because we want to know you're watching.
Yeah.
And but the other places, like this might be for the men, but the boat ramp.
Oh, yeah.
The boat ramp is like a place that, I mean, on a hot day, I dread the boat ramp.
Because they want you to get your boat in the water, get out, and
In and out, in and out, in and out, be fast. But there was this guy, the last time I was at the boat ramp, he backed his boat down into the water. I mean, there's a line of us waiting to get into the water, right? And I was probably like, I don't know, truck 2 or 3. And he backs down in, gets out like typical people do, right? Unhook the bow line to the boat. And usually you unhook it, back it in, it floats off. Somebody on the dock's holding the rope, you're good to go. He proceeded to open the back of his vehicle and one by one put the life jackets in the boat.
oh boy.
And then the pull toy came out of the boat. And then he opens his side door, and he's looking for something in his back seat, and it's the pump to pump up the pull toys, right? He gets in his truck and closes the door, and I mean we sat there probably about, I don't know, like 7 minutes during this whole thing. He gets back out of his truck, looks at his boat, gets in, pulls it forward probably about, the back of the boat was out of the water. He had forgotten to take the strap, the tow straps off the back of his boat.
Right, so it
he
wouldn't
gets
go.
out. Right, so he like gets out and does that, backs the boat down in the water. He gets out twice to check it to make sure that it's far enough in the water. And all this time he forgets to hand the bow rope to the person up on the dock.
Oh, man.
So his boat is like, it's now free floating back, and there's a boat at the end of the dock. And I mean, he was a slow backer upper, so his boat just kind of eased off the trailer. And he pulls up, and usually you pull out, you keep going, right? He stops and gets out and just stands there with his hands on his hips, like, well, now what do I do? And I mean, the truck started honking their horns. He's getting.
I kind of understand that.
He's getting
one, though.
yelled at by everybody else. Yeah, but it was okay. One, it was like stupidity, right?
Right.
But it was.
By the
lack
way,
of-
before you go any further, note to self: if you're a fisherman, that or you're a boating enthusiast, that is not how to do it.
yeah, not how to do it. So anyway, so people started yelling, and then of course the language changed, and then everybody's attitudes were wrong, and
Yeah.
and I was like, okay, no, I have to go. am I ready? Right, and then your brain just goes like, okay, I want everybody to be patient with me. I want to be in and out, right?
Head check. Did I do the straps? Did I do the
Right.
tow rope?
So I'm doing all of that, and I think I did it pretty good. I was by myself, so you have to tie the rope. I tied the rope off onto the dock, so that took a fraction of a second longer because I have to get up on the dock and walk down, tie the knot, and all that. But and then I have to go park, so I can't just move my boat. So I know I held up the line a little bit, But by that time, people were still honking and stuff, and I took it they all honking at him and not at me. But
I would assume so. I mean, they would have to understand if you had to go park your truck. I mean, there's not.
I don't know, man. That 10 minutes of waiting for the other guy just drove us all crazy. But anyway, I guess my question is when it comes to patience, when we look at the word, I mean, I don't mean like the word patient, but like back in the Bible, and I look at Jesus's day or the disciples' day, and I wonder how many times were the disciples impatient with Jesus?
Probably a lot, I would imagine. Although, their culture was not nearly as impatient as our culture is. They were willing to wait for things that we are not willing to wait for. Just as an example, in that culture, Jewish people didn't necessarily build a house from start to finish right away. Like it didn't. That's not how
They didn't have to
really-
wait for lumber prices to come down.
Well, I mean, they would do it in pieces, right? So as they had money, because they didn't believe in debt, so as they had money, they would build parts of their home, and so their home wouldn't be finished right away. They were patient. They waited until they had what they needed, and
They
then
liked
they would
camping.
I guess. Not me. So yes, they were very impatient with Jesus. I think there were many times, like one of the examples I think of is, I think this is from, it's either Mark or Luke, but Jesus goes off to pray as he often did, and he was by himself, and he had spent an entire day doing all kinds of things, healing people, preaching, and Jesus was just exhausted. And by the way, this is not about patience, but just as a reference, you know how Jesus rested? He got away and he prayed. Like
Yeah.
that, we don't think of that as rest in this day and age. Part of the reason is because we're so impatient and we move so fast and so busy. But anyway, Jesus goes off, and the next morning, before the daylight even came, his disciples come to him like, dude, Jesus, like there's so many people that need to see you, and Jesus, we got to go. And Jesus calmly says, we're going to go do ministry. Let's go. Because he had already recharged his battery by praying and being alone. But they were impatient. Like, it was not a, hey, this is a good goal for us to have today.
Right.
It's, get there now. We got to go do that. There's so many people who need you. Da, da, da.
Yeah, so speed of life is in there.
I mean, you think about them in the boat.
In the boat. In the
storm.
In the
Yeah.
storm. Yeah, so I guess today when we're looking at patience, I look at patience and I look at Jesus. I look at his disciples. You know, I look at his core group, because all of us, even those of you that are watching, we have core group of people that we live with or that we hang around with. There is this core group, and typically when you're impatient with somebody in your core group, you talk about it, right? Or you just deal with it. But typically patience is all based on knowledge. When I look at Jesus and the disciples, when I see the disciples being impatient with Jesus, it's because they didn't understand. And they didn't understand because they didn't have all the knowledge that Jesus has. So whether it was feeding the 5,000, why does he want us to do this? Why does he go away beforehand? Why does he tell us to get everything ready? Why doesn't he help? There's some impatience with that. We have to understand that knowledge, we don't understand what God's doing. We just know he's got the bigger picture. So in my own life, I have to, even constantly still, but I've come to learn that, okay, when I feel like I'm impatient with anybody, I have to sit back and just go, what don't I know about them? What don't I know about the situation? Because if I have the knowledge of what the situation is, I'm a little more impatient. I'm a little more patient. Case in point, there was a mom and her child in the store not too long ago, and the kid was just out of control, and I'm not directly impacted by them, but they're kind of holding things up, and I mean the kid is probably 6-7 years old, should not be acting the way they were acting. I mean even with not having a good parent, the kid should not be acting the way he was acting, and then I sat there and I was like, okay, there's something going on here that I don't know. It was easy for me to point fingers at what I thought the problem was.
Right.
That was creating the impatience in my heart and the impatience of everybody around this poor mom. So I was like, okay, Lord, what am I missing here? What am I missing? And it was like instant. It was like, boom, that's a special needs kid.
Yeah.
And, they look normal. You would never know. But something in that scenario with that mom at that time was a trigger for that kid. So that allowed me to I just like, okay, I'm good. And I mean, then I started laughing at everybody else getting irate and impatient with them.
Because you have empathy for the mom. You understand that the mom is...
Yeah, I have the knowledge.
Yeah.
Right? Even if I don't have compassion or empathy for the mom, I have the knowledge. And knowledge, I do believe with patience, when I look at Scripture and I look at the examples of Jesus and his disciples specifically, when they got the knowledge of Jesus, they went with it. Even on the night Jesus was arrested. They go to the garden. And they became very impatient when the guards showed up to take Jesus away, right? And Peter goes and takes his knife and cuts the ear off of the soldier. It was done out of anger, lack of knowledge, not being patient. Jesus, why don't you just take care of this? And Jesus like, yeah, no. Talk about being like impatient. Jesus, what are you talking about?
Well, I mean, even before that in the garden, Jesus is going to go away and pray by himself.
They fall asleep.
Right? And he tells them to do the same, right? He
Right.
wanted them to pray. And they nod off because they're
Yep.
impatient. They couldn't
Yep.
wait for Jesus to come back. So they fall asleep. So, yeah.
And
not
not having the knowledge of what he was even going in to pray for. I mean, they just had a great dinner, right?
Right.
He just laid it out. Hey, guys, I'm going to go. You're going to do some things you don't understand.
He did say he was going to die. So
I'm going to give everything I have for you, right? And you're going to like deny me. And everybody's like, yeah, no, I'm not going to deny you, blah, blah, blah. And then it's like, you can't even stay awake.
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing. No matter where you're at today, again, this is not just a Christian thing. I think this is everybody, all people can relate to the impatience thing. Look, our lives as particularly Western Christians, American Christians, or American people, we live in this absolutely hectic, fast-paced, chaotic just lifestyle. Everything moves so quickly these days. I mean, you think about even news cycles. News cycles sometimes don't even last a full day. It's sometimes 2 days or two hours, and there's a whole new news cycle happening. And that's because we're so impatient. Like we can't. I was telling the students the other day. So I'm not old, but I am old enough to remember 28K and 56K modems when you had the dial-up and
yep.
yeah, and it, downloading a video that's very small.
You have a little paper flying.
Yeah. And it would take hours to download a video from the internet or whatever.
Yep.
If you got email, it wasn't like an immediate email's there. It took a while for an email to show up at the recipient's address.
AOL.com.
AOL Instant Messenger, AIM, as we called it back in those days. We weren't super impatient about that stuff at that time because that's all we had. I mean, that's all we knew.
It was new and it was cool.
And now you try to download a video, and if it doesn't move like that, we get really impatient, right? I mean, I'm as guilty of this as anybody.
Well, you were impatient at the beginning of this show when we realized we were online. They were not.
I was pretty frustrated about that, to be honest.
Yeah, see?
Because I checked everything and made sure the internet was working, and it's working now. So, of course,
there you have it.
It works at 10 minutes left in the show. So I mean, even with our phones, our tablets, and all of that stuff, we
Dishwashers.
Like our dishwasher at the house that you guys used to have, used to live in.
Still working, huh?
It still works, but I mean, it's a 2-hour cycle, right?
Yeah.
Claudia, my wife, she was like, I've never had a dishwasher that's 2 hours. That's a long time. It's washing your dishes for you. Like,
And what are you complaining about?
What else could you ask for? I mean, first world problems. We're worried about an hour and a half or an hour and 15 minutes versus 2 hours. I mean, who cares?
Well, even the impatience of loading it correctly.
Right.
Especially as guys, how many times do we have to be trained to load the dishwasher correctly?
Well, and it's
Our
always
women get impatient with that.
It's always been a thing with my mom. So when we got our first dishwasher as a kid, my mom and dad would always say, like, over and over and over again, and so now it's a mantra in my house: the dishwasher doesn't clean the dishes. The dishwasher sanitizes the dishes. And I always was like, wait a minute. Wait. I have to wash the dishes to put them in a dishwasher? This makes no sense to me.
Yeah.
And so my mom would be like, yeah, you have to, wipe them down with a sponge and, make sure the plate's clean. I'm like, I'm putting it in a dishwasher. What?
And now we just throw it in with the whole taco still left on the plate.
It's true. There are people that do that.
know.
And, sometimes it happens and my wife will be like, that's still dirty.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, you should have washed it before you put it in the dishwasher. She's like, I just don't understand. I'm like, I don't either. I don't get it, but that's the way it works. That's the way of life. But we're so impatient, right? And my encouragement to you is your life is more valuable than being impatient. Like if you're going to waste your life being impatient and being upset because things aren't moving as fast as you would like them to, whether it's the drive-through, whether it's dial up or dialing into some internet piece and trying to download something, whatever the case is, you're going to waste a lot of time being impatient. So don't live your life that way. It's not worth it.
Yeah, and my encouragement to you is if you're finding yourself to be impatient over a situation, instead of letting the stress build up or the anxiety build up or just the whole scenario blown up, in your heart and mind, because typically what I've learned is my impatience, the situation isn't quite as slow as what I'm making it out to be.
Sure.
But I encourage you, just pray for the knowledge, pray for some clarity in that moment. Sit back a little bit and go, okay, what am I missing here at the stoplight? What am I missing with my spouse? What am I missing with my kid? I've told them to clean their room like 30,000 times. What am I missing? Okay, well, maybe there's like some communication stuff there that just needs to be worked out.
It's an easy area to get impatient.
It is. So sit back and breathe and slow things down, and just remember that Jesus and his disciples, they had to go through the same thing. And I really believe if we stop and we look at our spiritual growth, you got to stop and take time to do that, because it's like we read on Sunday out of Romans 12:11. It doesn't just happen. Your spiritual development, your spiritual life doesn't just stay on go all the time. You've got to maintain it. It says don't lose your zeal.
Yep.
Don't lose it. Keep it in check. In other words, you got to keep it maintained. You have to keep it under the microscope. And when you don't do that, impatience comes, and then all of a sudden the zeal for for God is the only God, right? Your zeal for God is gone. So that's my encouragement to you today. If you find yourself being patient with life, slow it down. Look for some knowledge. Spend some time in prayer.
Well, and the Apostle Paul also says in Romans that perseverance leads to character, and character leads to hope. So, again, being patient, having that perseverance, it does develop character in you. It does develop a hope in you, and you're able to deal with situations a whole lot better if you flex that muscle, practice. And you talked about practice on Sunday. Our faith, our life requires practice, and so patience requires practice. So I go back to where we started with Morgan Freeman as God. If you're going to pray for patience, just expect that God's going to give you more opportunities to be patient and to practice. And it might be frustrating.
And if I'm in front of you at the stoplight, I might just wait a little while.
Discipline sometimes is hard.
Just to help you with this.
Yeah. So, well, thank you for being with us today on the Morning Burrito podcast, and we will be back next week. You will be sans you because you will not be here.
I will be in the Cascades at the High Lakes with the kayaks and the fishing poles.
Hopefully you catch some trout, because that would be good to come back with some good trout.
You know what? I don't even care. I'm just going to go enjoy the lake and the view and the scenery and
take some good pictures.
Oh, that won't be a problem.
We could use them as background images for worship.
We could.
Like the ones that I took in Georgia that I didn't use.
My camera, according to you, is not good enough. So, and I'm not
have like an iPhone 2, so
it still takes pictures. So,
yeah, grainy, pixelated pictures.
Just saying, it's good enough for me. I'm not impatient with it.
Ba-doom.
Gotcha.
We'll be back next week, 10 a.m. Tuesday, and hopefully live. Hopefully we have no internet issues.
Is there a way
next
I can
week.
kind of come in live from the lake, I wonder?
If you have internet access, I'm sure you could. We could try to zoom you in.
Yeah.
We'll have to practice that, though.
Okay.
So,
hey, see ya. Enjoy the week. Get involved in your church.